They're the people that run the healthcare stores in town.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for all coming here today. I can't describe the feeling of pride while standing here at the podium. Looking at all of you gathered here today, it's an honor to stand beside you as one of your elected state representatives. My name is Bob Morse, and I serve you at the Indiana State Capitol. What an honor it is today to MC such a great event in support of the frontrunner and future President of the United States. At this time, what an honor it is to open this rally with a prayer. The Reverend Probasco.
It was you. I thought somebody was walking by handing them out.
$20.
Right.
I'll give it to you in the parking lot.
They're like, this guy's just come here for money.
No, I'll
want a drink
for 20 and sell it to them for 40.
And the next few weeks and months will have a profound effect upon our country and our world for many years to come. We pray for wisdom and discernment that we might know your will and have the courage and forbearance to follow your leadership and lead. Again, we come to you with humble and thankful hearts that you would be with Mr. Trump and this gathering. We ask that you would lay your divine hand of grace and mercy upon him, that he might have your inspired word and wisdom as he travels down this road of the election process. For we know that the leadership that this country is in need of is leadership which has been touched by your hand, inspired by your spirit, and refined by your will. We ask, dear Lord, that you would grant wisdom, courage, and grace to him, that you would inspire him so as to reach the hearts and minds of humankind, that all would know his greatness and that our greatness as a nation is wrought by your hand. May you give us all insight as to your will, that we might be inspired to help make this nation greater. Your word tells us that if my people will humble themselves and pray, that you will hear our prayers and heal our land. God, we stand in need of healing from the west coast to the east, from the north to the south. So we ask, Lord, that you would guide, direct, and heal us, that we might once again be the beacon of light that you desire America to be. Thank you, God, for hearing our hearts. In your holy name we pray. Amen. As some of you know, I was a pastor who officiated in Brian White's funeral. For those of you who were under 30 years of age, you might not know who he was. If so, I would encourage you to Google Ryan White's name. What you won't find there is the backstory about Donald Trump's kindness. Brian contracted AIDS as a teenager through a blood transfusion. He not only suffered from the disease, but also from the persecution and fear in his community. When Ryan died and the news was released, Mr. Trump and Michael Jackson were meeting together in Atlantic City. Michael and Ryan were great friends, and it was important that Michael be there with the family. Mr. Trump not only offered his personal plane for Michael to get to Indiana, but traveled with Michael. When they arrived in Indianapolis, they took a car to Cicero, to the Whites' home. There were no cameras or media attention inside. He came because he is a compassionate, caring, and supportive person who understands loss of family and was willing to share the grief that at times can be overwhelming. Michael stayed with the White family while Donald shared his condolences and then prepared to return to Atlantic City. His genuine act of kindness has never been forgotten. I don't know about you, but I want to know that my president is a kind, compassionate, caring, and supportive person who will watch out for my family and my country. Thank you, Mr. Trump, for being that person.
Ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman is a combat veteran who served in our United States Army. He was awarded 2 Bronze Stars during his time in Vietnam, during the Vietnam War. He is the past president of the Rolling Thunder. The Rolling Thunder is responsible for bringing 500,000 motorcycles to our nation's capital each year to remember those POA and MIAs and veterans across America, and those currently serving our country abroad. Ladies and gentlemen, leading our Pledge of Allegiance, Howard Bushnell.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let me have a show of hands who has served our great country and our military.
I have.
Grandfather always said, when you see a veteran that served our country, make sure you thank them for their service. Thank you to those men and women who have served our country. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my honor to present to you Mr. Joe Cochran, who's going to sing our national anthem.
It's hard to look up. Oh. Your media, you don't count.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, how many Fort Wayne Comet fans do we have here? Last evening, the Fort Wayne Comets put on a great show. At this time, I want to recognize the Coliseum staff who transformed this Coliseum to have our rally here today. Randy Brown and all his troops, thank you. A job well done. At this time, I want to recognize Gale and Dale Ann. Gale and Dale Ann, come on up here on stage. Many of you may be chattering now, there are two identical twins that have spent countless hours at the Trump office here in Allen County calling people to tell them to vote for Donald J. Trump for president. Is because these two twin sisters have called more people than any other person here in the state of Indiana.
Wow.
So at this time, if you have an iPhone or a telephone, I want you to get your phone out now. So your phone is out, right? So when I stop by and meet constituents, I always tell them, on May 3rd, can you please tell your neighbor, can you please tell a friend to vote for me, Bob Morris, for state representative. So at this time, what we're going to do, maybe log on to your Facebook as well, we're going to tell 10 people to vote for Mr. Donald J. Trump for president. Okay? Don't get too excited. But on a serious note, today, tomorrow, and even Tuesday. How many of you are registered to vote for Tuesday? Excellent. So if Mr. Donald J. Trump is going to win Indiana, he needs your help. So if you can text, if you can get on Facebook, after you get a picture of the future Mr. President, in November we will be calling Donald J. Trump Mr. President, correct? The Facebook trend will be going up after the rally because you are going to be telling your friends to vote for Mr. Donald J. Trump for president. We can go down the list, U.S. Congress, Liz Brown, Marlon Stutzman, etc., etc. Jeremy Bush, I want to say, there's a few other of my friends that are running Nathan Harkin. But anyhow, I can talk to you guys later about that. But let's recognize both of these sisters, Dale and Gale Ann, for the over 10,000 calls they have made for Mr.
Bucket list.
Well, you guys are doing that also. So at this time, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the selfless sacrifice of our veterans as well as our first responders and those police officers, those Secret Service officers that are away from home today on this Sunday, which is supposed to be a day of rest for all of us. So let's give a round of applause for our police, my fellow Hoosiers, we stand here today united at the forefront of a paradigm shift. Today we have the opportunity to seize the moment and change the course of history.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
For today we have gathered
very front of the back
said enough
at the
is
corner, right by that
enough.
red sign.
Thomas Jefferson
Right by the look at my camera.
to James Madison and said, a little rebellion now and then is a good thing. And as necessary in the political world as storms in the physical. It is a government, ladies and gentlemen. Let today be our storm, and let our future leader be Mr. Donald J. Trump for president. Privilege this past week to be at our state capitol and to introduce the former coach for your Indiana Hoosiers, Bobby Knight. Now, over the next few days, I am confident there will be more leaders and coaches coming out from Mr. Donald J. Trump. In a short time, President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald J. Trump. Thank you, folks.
This is gonna suck ass right now. I can't see anything with all those things. 50 minutes. Donald Trump's manager. Campaign manager.
How are we doing today? History has put all of you in the position this Tuesday of being able to take back this country for every single American who's been left behind.
Right!
You can end this whole thing here on Tuesday. Now we know that Senator Ted Cruz has been mathematically eliminated. Has picked his vice presidential.
Right!
But now, I'm told that this afternoon he's going to announce his cabinet when he becomes the King of England. But Ted Cruz's pick of Ms. Fiorina raises some important questions. Now, I'm Mr. Trump's policy advisor, so I'm going to talk very briefly about some of the policy issues in this race. Carly Fiorina, when she was in charge of HP, she laid off 30,000 workers who sent their jobs to India and Asia. And the ones that were left in America, many of them were replaced by foreign workers. Now, Ted Cruz went on Fox Sunday today and said he thought that was a fabulous business record. So I think that we can call the Cruz-Fiorina ticket the outsourcing ticket. Ted Cruz voted against the bill to stop China's trade cheating. Ted Cruz voted for Barack Obama's trade bill that will send all of your manufacturing jobs overseas. A trade bill that will shut down car plants in the United States and send them to Japan. Who here thinks Ted Cruz's plan to shut down American auto plants is a good idea? Donald J. Trump is going to bring manufacturing back to Indiana and the United States. I love this crowd today. You guys are excited to make America great again. Donald J. Trump is going to put jobs and wages for Americans first. Now, we recently held a rally. And at the rally were the victims of illegal immigrant crime. These are the people that have been betrayed more than anybody in this country by our politicians and the special interests who just want cheap labor to drive down wages and they don't care what happens to your family. Now, these same people say they don't like Mr. Trump's tone. I'm sure you've heard this. They say Donald Trump, well, you've heard it. They say he's too tough on illegal immigration. They say he's too tough on China. They say he's too tough on crime. Now, so they weep their crocodile tears in D.C. over Donald Trump's toughness, standing up for all of you. I think maybe it's time that you had a champion in your corner. That you didn't have to feel like second-class citizens anymore in your own country. I think maybe it's time that we treated Americans better than we treated the immigrants. Because those same special interests in D.C. who complain about Mr. Trump's tone never complain when something bad happens to you or your family. Those special interests didn't weep when Kate Steinle died. They didn't weep when our border was left open. They didn't weep when our factory was closed down. Because the special interests don't care about you. They don't care about the people in this room. Exactly right. Now, how many mothers are in the room today? Let's hear from the mothers. Now, I think it's important to the mothers of America America that we have jobs for our children, isn't it? And I think it's important to the mothers of America that we have safe communities, isn't it? And I think it's important to the mothers of America that we protect our children from crime and illegal immigration and open borders, isn't it? You're not going to hear that from the special interests in D.C. because, again, they don't care about you. But do you know who does care about you? That's right, Indiana. Donald J. Trump cares about you. And when you send Donald Trump to the White House, he's going to fight for all of you. No Americans left behind anymore. Are you ready, Indiana, to vote for a secure border? Of Americans first. Ready to vote for safe communities. Are you ready to vote to put once and for all the hard-working citizens of this country before anyone else? And I'm asking all of you, I'm asking every single one of you, let's put this away on Tuesday. Get your friends, get your family, get your neighbors, get your co-workers. Do it for every American who's been left behind. Do it for the people living in the communities besieged by crime. Do it for the people who've been besieged by drugs pouring across our border. Do it for everyone whose factories shut down. Do it for everyone who's been laid off. Do it for every single working person who's cried and cried and cried for representation and has been betrayed by Washington, D.C. every time. Do it for the family whose wages haven't gone up in 20 years as low-wage workers stream into the country. Do it for love of your family. Do it for love of your neighbor. Vote for Donald J. Trump because you love this country. Are you ready, Indiana? I want you to shout so loud that everyone who betrayed you can hear you in Washington, D.C. Are you ready to put Donald J. Trump in the White House? This country? Are you ready to make sure that no American is ever left behind again? Then get out and vote on Tuesday. Do it for your family, do it for your country, and do it for this beautiful state. One more time now, so every special interest, every corrupt lobbyist can hear you. Is Indiana going to send Donald Trump to the White House? God bless you. God bless this beautiful state, and God bless the United States. In a few minutes, you're going to hear from the man who's going to save the United States of America.
I did a few statistics, and don't be depressed. It ain't good, but we're going to change it fast, folks. We're going to change it. So they go Fort Wayne, and I like Fort Wayne. We have friends from Fort Wayne, great people, Jim, Sue. Fort Wayne has lost 1 in 4 manufacturing jobs since NAFTA. No good, we're going to change it. NAFTA's a real problem, folks, NAFTA. Our brilliant politicians, they made that deal. That was another brilliant deal. And now they're doing TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership. Cruz wants it. It's going to be a disaster, okay? It's a disaster. It'll be worse than NAFTA. The number of people living in poverty in the county, Allen County, has nearly doubled since 2000. We got to take care of that, folks. You know what's happening? Our jobs are going to Mexico. China's taking our business. Japan. Everybody. Not going to happen. The entire state of Indiana has lost 1 in 5 manufacturing jobs.
since Congress put China in the World Trade Organization in 2001. Not good, right? Indiana's lost another 5,000 jobs. State has lost 15% of its construction jobs. Steel. Now steel we love. Indiana's big for steel, right? 1/4 of all steel in the United States was made in Indiana. But steel workers are getting hammered in Indiana because of the dumping, you know, the dumping. We're not going to have dumping, we're going to keep our jobs, better than dumping. All right, we're keeping our jobs. The car industry is another now. The car industry is a big industry in Indiana, but it's being hammered and will be hammered if TPP passes. So we're going to make sure it doesn't pass, because that's going to make, I'm telling you, that's going to make NAFTA look like baby stuff. So it's all bad, but look, let me tell you, ultimately it's good, because you know what's going to happen? We're going to bring it back. We're gonna bring it back. So I'm competing against these two guys, even though they have no path to victory. It's ridiculous. I don't even know. The Washington Post, just recently, it says, headline, "The time has come to admit that Republican voters want Donald Trump as their nominee." That's in the Washington Post. We have millions of more voters. We have hundreds of more delegates. It's a corrupt system. It's a crooked system, very much like crooked Hillary, right? For instance, I won in Arizona, I won everything, but these guys are trying to go in and get votes in the second ballot. Jan Brewer, the governor, a great woman, she got thrown off. It's all rigged by the professionals, it's all rigged by the bosses, and it's a disgrace. It started in Louisiana. I wasn't supposed to win Louisiana. And I went on a campaign. I went into an airplane hangar like this incredible. It's a good place. This is a nice place. Look at that. Every single seat, every single corner, the entire floor. We set a new record here. We set a new record, and these guys will never report it. The dishonest media will never report it. Think of it. No matter where we go, we just left, as you know, Terre Haute. Do we like Terre Haute? Yeah. We had a new record there, great people, incredible people, and over here they've never done this much. You know why? Because they can fill up the seats, but nobody ever fills up the floor. And by the way, there are probably 7,000 or 8,000 people still outside trying to get in. So if you want to leave, and this happens all over. This is always the case. We go to Alabama, we have 35,000 people. We can go as big as the arena. And we have, no matter where we go, it's a movement that's going on. And you know, it really is, it's a movement toward being smart. Our country is being led by people that have no clue. And the ones that do have a clue, they're totally guided by campaign contributions, by their super PACs, and by companies that want to rip off our country. They don't care. So we're going to get it straight. Now here's something coming in, because you know, you look at these guys that are running against, now they're hanging by their fingernails. They're just like barely hanging on. So they have no road to victory. And Cruz did something that nobody's ever seen before. He has no road to victory. He can't win. He's the first person in the history of the United States who picked a running mate, Carly, who picked a running mate. He picked a running mate, even he has no chance to win. So he picked, as a presidential candidate, a running mate, but he has no chance to win. So that's the first in the history of our country, folks. Ted, Lion Ted, I want to congratulate you, Lion Ted! Lion Ted! Lion Ted! Lion Ted! Lion Ted! Lion Ted! stuff. We're going to repeal it, replace it. Second Amendment. We love our Second Amendment. I watch this guy on television. Donald Trump loves Obamacare. Oh, I love it. Oh, it's wonderful. Your rates went up, 35, 45, 55%. But they lie, these politicians. I'm in business and they're bad. And I have to tell you, they're much tougher. They're much tougher people. But they don't lie like this. I never saw people lie like this. How about the little deal they made, Kasich and Cruz, where one will get out of Indiana. Now, think about that, because we all have our stats. One will get out of Indiana, the other one will take over. The people of Indiana are smart. They don't go for this stuff. Gotta be very careful. Because when I use a little bit language, it's bad, just a little bit. It ends up being a front page story all over the world, okay? Because of these dishonest people. But they formed this alliance. But just to show you what bad deal makers politicians are, they formed an alliance, and by the following morning, I got a call 11:30 in the evening. By the following morning, the alliance was broken. Okay? It was broken. Kasich said, no, vote for me, that's okay, vote for me. Cruz said, you're not supposed to say that, they're fighting with each other. And it was so bad that he picked Carly, because maybe he could stop the bad press. And in the meantime, the great Bobby Knight called me and said, I'd like to endorse you. I'll tell you, he's fantastic. He called me a year ago. That's right. He called me a year ago, Bobby. And I'd known Bobby Knight. I didn't know him personally, but who doesn't know Bobby Knight? He's tough, he's smart, and he knows how to win, which our country doesn't know anymore. We don't win. We don't win anymore. We don't win on trade. We don't win with the military. We can't beat ISIS. I said, Bobby, we can't beat ISIS. I know, and I can. He's going crazy. But by the way, he could beat ISIS in about 2 days. Okay? And he's never done it. But he called me a year ago, and he said, I hope you run. This was before I announced on June 16th. He called me before that, because people were speculating. And he said, I hope you really run. And if you run, I'd like to back you. I said, Bobby, it's a little early, but I'll let you know. Give me a number. So I take the number, I put it aside. And then I'm running. We're doing well. Win New Hampshire, win North Carolina, win Nevada, win the South. Close to 30 now, and Lions had won 10 or 11 or something. And we have hundreds of votes more, but more, we have millions and millions of votes more. We have more delegates by a lot, like 300 or something, maybe more. But we have millions of votes more, setting a record in the history of the Republican Party. And within another week, after I think Indiana, we'll have the all-time record, and we still have major states to go. So we will have beaten the all-time. We just beat everybody, and we're 70% up, almost more than that, from what it was 4 years ago, when you should have won. In all fairness, you should have beaten Obama 4 years ago, in all fairness. Didn't work out. It didn't work out 8 years ago, it didn't work out 4 years ago, and this time I said, let's do it ourselves. So with millions of votes up, and in another week we will have set the all-time record in the history of the Republican Party for votes. That's the big. Now, it's a rigged system, a terrible, corrupt, and rigged system. It's run by the party leaders so that very capable outsiders can't get into the party. It's run by the special interests, by the lobbyists, so they can continue to make millions of dollars off these characters running for office like Cruz. It's really a disgusting system. But here's what you do. I deal with a lot of fighters, prize fighters, right? I've had a lot of fights over the years. And not so long ago, I had a fighter, Champ. And he wanted to go into really unfriendly territory where the challenger was. I said, Champ, what are you, crazy? He said, you don't want to go there. You could lose. If they have a decision, you could lose. He said, you know what, Mr. Trump? If I knock him out, and I knock him on his ass, and he's unconscious laying on the floor, they can never take it away from me, sir. And you know what he did? In 3 rounds, he knocked the guy out, and he walked with a big paycheck, okay? Bigger than he could have made anywhere else. So that's what we do. We're winning by so much that even though it's a crooked system, even though it's a totally rigged deal, both parties. Now the Democrats do it, but it's more obvious. Actually, the Republican form of rigging the system is in a much more sophisticated form, because the superdelegates, they just hand it to Hillary. Okay? I mean, that was too obvious, right? She walks away with all those superdelegates, and Sanders keeps winning, and they keep saying he has no path to victory. I said he's won it like 9 times in a row. Now with us, it's much more sophisticated. With us, they take him away from her. But they can't take away the first round. But believe me, folks, it's a dirty, rotten, horrible business, is politics. It's a rigged system, remember. And the only reason we're doing well, and the only reason we're going to get it, is because we're winning by so much. If this were fairly close, like I was 25% ahead, you would have no chance. And I'm representing you. And I hope you all go to Cleveland. I'm telling you. In July, and let's all be heard, because we have a movement going on. And by the way, we have a movement, and you know what I'm getting for this movement? I get nothing. I'm self-funding my campaign, okay? So when the pharmaceutical companies call me and they say, we don't want to go to bidding, little thing like bidding. We don't want to bid, we want to just send you whatever it is. We don't want to have bidding. And all of the other things that I say, I've never seen anything like the way this country is run. We're going to start bidding, including for military equipment. We're going to make our military bigger, better, stronger than ever before. In the military, it's not the equipment the generals want. It's equipment that we're getting, and you see it all the time, you read about it all the time. It's forced down their throat by a company that's politically good, but doesn't make the equipment that's as good. All of that stuff ends. All of it ends. And this is why they don't, they'd much rather have somebody other than Trump. Now, fortunately, Cruz is so hated. He's got such a rotten personality that they can't stand this guy. And by the way, remember this, he'll never be able to make a deal. He doesn't get along with anybody. The United States Senate, all these senators, he's got practically nobody that's endorsed him. And the one he respects the most is Senator Jeff Sessions from Alabama. He's an amazing guy. He endorsed Trump. So, it's one of those. We have great endorsements. We have endorsements on the border. We have endorsements on the economy. Carl Icahn, the great businessman. Many of the great businessmen. Because we know what to do, and I know what to do. And when you get to Indiana, it's about jobs and it's about the economy, almost more than anything else. And nobody can compete on the economy like I mean, Hillary is totally bought off by, you take a look at her super PAC. You take a look at the people that are giving Hillary Clinton the money. Believe me, this country has no chance. It's never going to be great again. Also, she is crooked Hillary, but she doesn't have the strength or the energy to make our country great again. Believe me. Believe me. You ever notice she'll make a speech, she'll read it off a teleprompter, she'll read the speech off a teleprompter, and then she'll leave. You don't hear from her for like 4 days. When the Chinese traders come in, and they come in 20 at a time. They come in all the way. But when the Chinese come in, and they want to make great trade deals, and they make the best trade deals, and not anymore. When I'm there, we turn it around, folks. We turn it around. We have a $500 billion deficit, trade deficit with China. We're going to turn it around, and we have the cards. Don't forget, we're like the piggy bank that's being robbed. We have the cards. We have a lot of power with China. When China doesn't want to fix the problem in North Korea, we say, sorry folks, you got to fix the problem. Because we can't continue to allow China to rape our country, and that's what they're doing. It's the greatest theft in the history of the world. What China has done, and I like China. I've made a lot of money with China. The Bank of America building in San Francisco, a building in New York, 1290 Avenue of the Americas, one of the biggest floor plates in the whole city of New York. I do great with China. I sell them condos. I have the largest bank in the world from China, the largest in the world by far. They're a tenant of mine in a building I own in Manhattan. I mean, China's great, no problem. I'm not angry with China, and I'm not angry at Japan, and I'm not angry at Mexico. I'm not angry with anybody. I'm angry at our leaders because they're grossly incompetent and they shouldn't have ever been elected to do this job. So we have Cruz and we have Kasich or whoever he is. And here's the story. Here's the story. Heidi Cruz, nice woman, said, my husband, you heard about this, right? Said this one, my husband's an immigrant, right? He's an immigrant. And that's what I've been saying. Except a lot of people, I think she was trying to say, she was trying to put the little bit of a Latin turn on it. He was born in Canada, folks. He was born in Canada. One thing I tell you, number one, he can't win. Got no path to win. And even if he had a path to win, which he doesn't, he has very few votes and he has very few delegates. But I've been saying, he wasn't born in this country. And the first thing the Democrats would do, assuming he won, which he won't, so it doesn't matter, I'm not even playing that card, is they will bring a lawsuit against him, saying that he's not a naturalized citizen, that he wasn't born on the land. He was born in Canada, lived there for 4 years. There's a whole big thing. I've had the biggest, the best lawyers in the world tell me you can't run. Now, the Democrats are sitting back with one of the best lawyers in the world. If Cruz ever got lucky, and he can't, but if he ever got lucky and got the nomination, he will be sued immediately. He won't be allowed to run. So lots of luck. Other than that, isn't he wonderful? He's wonderful, okay? So we'll see what happens. But his wife just said, my husband is an immigrant. And I said, when I heard, that's what I've been saying. But we don't want to get her in trouble, so let's not use that, right? Now, here's the story. So on June 16th, I said, the last thing I liked my life, right? I built a great company. I took $1 million loan, not so long ago, and made it into net worth of over $10 billion. That's good. That's good. Negotiate loans. Borrow the money, no matter how good the deal works out, let's negotiate. But you know what? Took $1 million, made it $10 billion, more than $10 billion. Some of the great assets in the world. Very little debt, tremendous cash flow, and most, very importantly, like Turnberry in Scotland and Doral in Miami and great buildings all over the place. And I'm not saying it for any other reason other than that is the kind of thinking we need, at least for a period of time, to straighten out our country. We have to make our country rich again. Then we're going to make our country great again. And then we're going to make our country greater than ever before. I will tell you where that's going to happen. So, I came down the escalator with Melania. Oh, we'll build the wall, don't worry about it. Build it. When I was on the debate stage recently, these guys that I'm against, you know what's funny? I watched this guy, Lindsey Graham. Now, I won't say anybody's stupid, because I don't like to call people stupid. So I will not call Lindsey Graham stupid, okay? One of the things he's been saying, I've been fighting this war for many years, and I've been giving them ideas for many years. They're the wrong ideas, folks. That's why he's been fighting for so many years. I want to knock it off fast, like, boom, over. I mean, he said, you go here, and then you go here, and then you fight Syria and ISIS, and even though they're fighting each other, we're going to fight above. I mean, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. But here's what I love. So he went out, and he's a senator from South Carolina, and I was at 38, it was a long time ago, I was at 38%, he was at 2. He's the sitting senator, right? And we crushed him. Then he goes and supports somebody else, that didn't work. Somebody else, that didn't work. Then he supported Jeb Bush. Now, low energy, very low. And honestly, I have to be honest, no, I love everybody that I defeat. I love them. Now, we started off with 17 people, and week after week, gone, Walker is gone. You know, Walker was going to be great, right? Jeb Bush was going to be great. Everybody was going to be great. The only people that thought I was going to be great are the people that knew me, okay? And people that competed with me in business. I had a lot of very smart people. They they called me up, and my wife and my daughter, Ivanka said, you're going to be great. And my wife said, you know you're going to win, don't you? And she meant it, because she sees I have a relationship with her. But the only people that said I'm going to be great are the people that I've competed against, and friends of mine that know that's the way it is. So I go out, I watch these moron pundits. I mean, how Fox and CNN and MS pay these people. They are morons. Karl Rove is one of the dumbest human beings I've ever watched. I win New York by a landslide, record win, almost 62%. I win every single county, every single location. I then go next week, I win Pennsylvania. I think they have like 68 counties, right? I win 68 counties, never been done before. I win Maryland, Connecticut, Delaware, and Rhode Island, right? And Karl Rove is on television. Karl Rove, well, he could have done better. He's choking. You know, the guy's choking. And I win Florida. I win Florida in a landslide. 67 counties, I win 66 in Florida. And then he said, well, you know the great one, I had one where I won with 32%, but I had 11 people running. You know, don't forget, in the history of politics in this country, there's never been anything we had 17 people running. So when I get 50%, and now I'm getting 60 and 70%, now I'm doing great, and I have 3. It's very hard to get over 50 when you have 3. But I've had, when we started with New Hampshire and Nevada and all of the earlier states, South Carolina and North Carolina, we had many, many people. So I get 32%. And this dumb guy, Rove, who how Fox pays this guy, maybe he does it for nothing. If I were Roger Ailes, I wouldn't give Karl Rove 10 cents. He's been wrong on everything. He still thinks that Romney won. He's going around going, I thought Mitt Romney won. Honestly, this is a dumb guy. So what happens, I get 32%, and we have all these people running. And he goes, he didn't break 50. Just remember, when you have many people, and you get like 30, that's like better than what I did in New York, where I got 62%. But even there, I had 3 people. 3 people's a lot. Now Hillary, crooked Hillary, she's running against one guy. And she has from the beginning. She's right, the 2 guys, but let's call it, you're running against one guy. The 2 guys that dropped out quickly. But she's running against one guy, Bernie. And Bernie, can you believe it? And Bernie, no, but how about Bernie? He came up with a statement and they went crazy. He said, number 1, Hillary Clinton, crooked Hillary, is not qualified to run for president. And then they said, what do you mean by that? He said, the reason she's not is that she suffers from bad judgment, which she does. She's got bad judgment. It will be a mess. You're going to have the same problems that you had. And by the way, Bill Clinton signed NAFTA, the single worst trading deal made in the history of the world. NAFTA. I went to New England. It was stripped of its business. I went all over. You go upstate New York, and this was years ago. And they've never recovered. They never will recover unless I'm elected. Believe me, they're going to recover much faster than they understand. And you are doing for a way. And Indiana's going to. So what happened is on June 16th, I said, I'm going to run. Because I cannot stand to see what's happening to our country. I love this country. I didn't need this, folks. As much as I love Fort Wayne, I could be someplace else right now, relaxing and doing something. But honestly, I couldn't stand seeing. And just like you're great people, no matter where I go in this country, they're unbelievable people. We shouldn't be in this position. Do you know, middle income, I love you too, darling. Oh, look at you. I love you too, darling. But you know, middle income people are making less money today in real dollars by far than they made 18 years ago. Okay? They're working harder. In many cases, they have 2 jobs, and they're doing worse. It's supposed to be the opposite. Now, I'm working harder than I worked 18 years ago, too, I'll be honest with you. I'm doing this, I'm doing the other stuff, But, you know, fortunately, I have three older kids that are doing a good job, and I have executives that do a good job. They can run the company because I want to focus on this. This is so important, what we're doing. You know, Time Magazine, many covers over the last 4 months. They call it a movement, and good covers, really good covers. And I'm the messenger, and all I am is the messenger, believe me. I'm a good messenger, I gotta say, but I'm the messenger. And the messenger is basically saying we want to be the smart country again. We don't want every country that does business with us to take us over. You know, in Indiana, you have a horrible thing that I've used for months, and nobody else brought it up until the last couple of days. I heard the Lion 10 was going about Carrier. The guy never even heard of Carrier. I bought air conditioners from them, thousands, you know, over the years. But I see now they're all into the Carrier. But I've been talking about it for 4 months since I saw the clip of the mid-level management guy in a rather vicious manner firing 1,400 people because they're going to move to Mexico. Right? No, it's terrible. And I've been talking about Indiana, and I didn't do it for this. It just happened to be. It's like when Coach Knight, he called. I said, Coach, thank you. I'll let you know. And then all of a sudden I realized I'm in Indiana. Coach Knight called me. And I said to a friend of mine, how are we doing in Indiana? He said, pretty well. By the way, we got great polls today. Don't worry about them. Don't listen to them. Forget it. Pretend we're losing. We're not. We're winning big. But pretend we're losing. Because we have to win big. The more we win by, the better it is. But Coach Knight, so I said to a friend, who would be the best endorsement I could get? It took him about 12 1/100ths of a second. I said, who would be the best? He said, well, Bobby Knight, if you could get him. I said, you know, 1 year ago, he called me, and he really told me I should run. That was before I decided to run. Let me see if I can find his number. I go, where is it? There it is. I call him. He didn't even know who it was. He might have seen Trump or something on the phone. He didn't even know. He goes, I've been waiting for you to call. Unbelievable. That was 2 weeks ago. I said, Coach, could you come in? I said, is the endorsement still good? He said, absolutely. He said, you're the only man going to straighten out this country. He said, absolutely. I said, Coach, can you come in? He's a great guy. You know what I love about him? First of all, remember this. He's tough. He's really smart. Okay, just so you know. I know a lot of tough guys are not smart. I know plenty of smart guys are not tough. I mean, we have all combinations, right? But Bobby Knight is really smart. Everybody knows the toughness, but he's really smart. And you know, he won 900 games. He won 3 championships for Indiana. He won the Pan Am Games. He won the Olympics. He is the last one to have an undefeated season. And he almost had 2 of them in a row. I mean, the guy, you know, bottom line, he's a winner. And we don't win anymore as a country. We don't win anymore. We don't win with trade. We don't win with military. We can't beat ISIS. We don't win anymore. So we're going to start winning. And we're going to do not what's politically correct. That is a disastrous term. Political. We're going to put America first. Okay? We want America to be first. You ever see these deals we make? We're more concerned about other countries than we are about ourselves. And in the meantime, we have all these people laid off all over the place. I mean, I went to New York State, Syracuse, Poughkeepsie, Albany, Rome, but the real Rome, the Rome that's in New York State, not the other. Rome, New York State. I went to these places. I went to the island. I went to Bethpage and so many other places. And you know, Suffolk County. It is so sad to see all those. I mean, I'm driving from, I knew it anyway because I've lived there, but I'm driving all the way, I'm driving to different venues, and I see factory after factory after factory closed. And the people, and the real estate's worthless. It's all worthless. I say, maybe I could buy something that's real estate. It's worthless. It doesn't help. We got to change it. We can't let these other countries manipulate their currencies. They're devaluing their currencies. They're making it impossible for our countries. Our companies cannot compete. And we make better product. Now, we talk about free trade. I'm a free trader. But our leaders don't give us a chance. They make such bad deals that you can't be. Free trade is great for every country other than ours. So now, I'm just a smart trader. And what we're going to do, take as an example, you can take Nabisco Ford, you can take hundreds of them, but let's use Carrier. So they're going to leave Indiana, they're going to move to Mexico, They're going to make their air conditioners. They're going to sell them across here, probably for the same price. Maybe they'll charge more money. Who knows? And you know what? That's not going to happen. I'm going to tell them if I become president through an intermediary, although I'd like to do it myself. It's so much fun. I love doing this. My wife says, presidential. I said, look, I love doing this. And who can do it better than me, right? But I have guys. People don't realize we have the greatest business people in the world. They're not used. We use political hacks. We use people that aren't even smart to negotiate with China the biggest deals in the world. You know, those trade deals are much bigger than companies. There's no company deal that's as big as some of these trade deals. So we use politically induced people that gave money to get their job, people that just want to do it, people that probably have bad interest when they negotiate. But we use political hacks against China. Now, I know a lot about China. I've made a lot of money dealing with China. You can check it. You can look at the buildings I have. I did a lot of good deals with China. And again, nothing against China, Mexico, Japan, Vietnam is hot as a pistol now. All of these countries. It's just our people. So here's what we do. I call, meaning I, my people, who knows? I'll do it any way you want. I couldn't care less. I'm not proud. We call up. We say, if you leave Indiana, and you can do it now. You really have time, they haven't left yet. You leave Indiana, every product that you make that comes across that border is going to be taxed at 35%. Now all of a sudden that bottom line's not looking so good. Now here's what some people will say. Some people will say, well, the product's going to be more expensive to come into the country. Now, in this case, it doesn't really matter. In this case, I don't think they would be. They'd be the same price probably, but forget that. Even if they were, here's the difference, and they never report it. I say, make sure because obviously some of this product will be more expensive. But here's the difference, we're going to have our jobs. So when you add the jobs, unless they're more expensive, I like that better than just having cheap crap coming in all the time. Right? I like it better. So we're going to have our jobs, and we're going to make our own product, and we're going to sell that product also. And we're not going to let China and all these countries continue to devalue their currency. You look at what Japan does to Caterpillar Tractor. You look at what these countries are doing to our companies. Now, I have friends who are in the manufacturing business, great manufacturers. They can't get their product into China. You can't get it in. And when you do, they tax you. Everything that we hear, oh, we're the bad ones, we're talking about taxing. You can't get your product into China without them charging you a tariff or a tax. But us, we let it just flow. Then they devalue. Now, they weren't supposed to devalue, but about 9 months ago, they did the biggest devaluation that they've done in 2 decades. They're making it impossible for our companies to compete, and we can't allow it to happen. And we're going to have to start charging. And if they don't help us in North Korea, which they can solve in 2 minutes, who the hell wants to drop bombs on North Korea? If they don't help us on North Korea, they have total control over North Korea. Remember what I said. Now, they don't say that. Well, they're difficult. They're tweaking us. They love what's happening. They have total and absolute control because everything, that's like the bloodlines coming into North Korea. China, because of its massiveness and its power, they have total control of North Korea. They could solve that problem with one phone call, but they don't do that because they love what we're going through. And we're protecting Japan, a lot of people don't know that, for peanuts. And we're protecting Germany, these are economic behemoths, for peanuts. So if something happens to Japan, if Japan is attacked, we have World War III and we're right in the middle of it. Now here's the deal. If we're attacked, Japan doesn't have to do anything. Good deal. So that if we get attacked, and I like Japan, I have a lot of friends in Japan, I'm not blaming Japan, they make good deals. But if we get attacked, Japan can watch it on Sony televisions, right? Right? But if somebody attacks Japan, let's go in, folks. Guess what? It's World War III. You think that's right? Really? Now, here's the other thing. And I learned a lot of this stuff over the last year and a half, 2 years, to be honest with you. You know, they asked me the other day, Wolf Blitzer on CNN, said, Mr. Trump, what do you think of NATO? I said two things. I said it's obsolete because it was set up for the Soviet Union, and right now we have a problem with terror. And I'm not saying that Putin and all of what's happening in Russia is great, but it's obsolete. And I said, economically, we're paying for far too much. And the next day, people that study it, they said Trump is wrong. And then 2 days, 3 days later, now they're all saying I'm like a genius. Like Putin said, Trump is a genius. I like that. Not going to get him anything, but I was still. You know these characters on the stage? We want you to disavow. They wanted me to call Putin or write to Putin and say, please never call me a genius again. There's no way that's ever going to happen. These are people. You know what they said? They called me after one of the debates. One of the guys, nice guy. And I never hit back. Remember, I'm a counterpuncher. Like when Jeb Bush, I just hit him. I said he's a low-energy stiff. I wouldn't have hit back, except that I'm watching television the other day, and he's being interviewed, and he's saying all sorts of stuff. He's saying Trump is not a conservative. Who cares? I'm a conservative, but who cares? I'm smart. We're gonna make great trade deals for ourselves. You know, they want these conservatives. You know, these morons that write the magazines, National Review that nobody reads. They write the magazines, and they want it to be free trade, but they don't understand it's not working. It's killing us. Free trade is killing us. Globalization is killing us because everybody's making good deals but us. They're sucking our blood out of our system. They're sucking our blood. So I watched Jeb and he was nasty, you know, saying bad things. He's like bad things. I said, what? Hey, the race is over. And you know what? When they lose, I've been very nice to many of the people. But when they lose, you're supposed to be like a nice person. And he's not. So that's why I say that. That's why I say that stuff. Because frankly, we got to all team up together. You know, the Republican Party has to come together, folks. And if it doesn't come together, it's going to be hard. But I'll tell you this. They said to me, well, if it doesn't come together, does that mean you can't win? No, I think I can win at what? Do you think it helps to have Jeb Bush? What's that worth? Like 2 votes? Jeb and his wife. Seriously. I don't think it matters. But it would be nice to have the Republican Party come together. With that being said, I think I'll win anyway. I think I'll win New York State. I think I'll win Michigan. I think I'll win states that nobody ever won before. It's like, you know, lately they're all calling up. All these guys that have been brutal. You know, they're on television saying the worst things about me. Now they're calling, they want to come on the train, as they said. We'd love to join the train, the Trump train. And I said to one guy in particular, what he said was so bad about me. He calls me up yesterday. He wants to join. I said, you know, it would be nice to have you, but just out of curiosity, how is it possible for you to do that? He goes, he's a politician. He goes, oh, that's no problem. Don't worry about it. In other words, you'll say, these are politicians, folks. I would find it hard. I even see it where you'll see this really brutal race. And you have a winner and a loser. And there were horrible things said. And the guy that loses gets up. I'd like to congratulate Jim. He's a great man, and he'll be a great senator, or whatever the hell they're running for. And I say, I wonder how they do that. I mean, I'm not sure, but if I lost, I think I just go, bye-bye, folks. Thanks a lot. I love you people, but I'm going the hell out of here. I'm not thanking anybody other than you people. Why should you? I think I'm still going to win. Because, you know, they're voting for me. They're not voting for some character that, you know, is giving us an endorsement or whatever. They're voting for me. Now, with that being said, I've seen very few endorsements that work. Bobby Knight, I think, is a great endorsement. And there are some other great endorsements. I mean, you know, I've had some incredible endorsements. But it would be still better if the party could pull together. And I think your chances are even better of victory. Because the last thing we need is another 4 years to Barack Obama, which Hillary Clinton would be giving. If she's allowed to run. Because I've seen people that did far less than her with her crooked emails. I've seen people that did far less than her. And they have suffered for years and years. And she's been let off the hook by the Democrats. That's not even mentioning Benghazi and all of this, but I'm just talking about the emails. what she gave up in terms of national security, she should be ashamed of herself. And that's bad judgment, and it's also beyond bad judgment. But it's just like Bernie Sanders said about crooked Hillary Clinton. She suffers from bad judgment, and you can't have her be your president. You can't. So when I won New Hampshire, that was my first state that I won. I have a special little place. You ever win something like your first win as a pitcher or whatever? It was my first win. And I got to know a lot of the people up there. I campaigned hard. I wanted to win New Hampshire badly. And everyone said, oh, you can't win New Hampshire. That's going to be Bush. I said, Bush? Bush is going to beat me? Anyway, I won in a landslide. But I got to know the people during the 2 weeks that I was up there. I mean, I literally got to know a lot of people. And they all said, I said, what's your biggest problem? And they said, heroin. I said, heroin? You have to see this place. It's gorgeous. The trees, the roads, the lakes, everything's so beautiful. And I said, what are you talking about heroin? No, it's pouring in. It's pouring into your community. It's pouring into it comes out from the southern border. And I said, if I win, I'm going to stop it. And I won New Hampshire. I then had the same talk in South Carolina. We went to Nevada. We won Nevada in a landslide. And by the way, won the Hispanics by a lot. All the Hispanics we won. Every poll. And then I went to the South. And that was going to be Lion Ted Cruz's territory. And we won the South. We won Alabama. We won Mississippi. We won everything practically. We won Florida in a landslide. I mean, we're doing great. We're having a lot of fun. More fun to win. Do we agree? More fun. You know, if I was losing all those places and if I was here, first of all, we wouldn't have this crowd. We'd have 3 people. But it wouldn't be too much fun. But it's fun to win. But you know why it's fun for me to win? For the end result. Not because I want to win like aimlessly. I want to win because I know how great our country can be. I really know how great. It's not going to take that long. And it's not going to be that hard. I mean, it's much harder. I've said to a lot of people, it's harder to get into the Wharton School of Finance than it is to stay there. It's harder to get into Harvard than it is to stay there. It's harder to become president, in my opinion, than to do a great job being president. I really believe. It's hard. I mean, I'm here. I'm all over the place. Tomorrow I have 2 or 3 big speeches in Indiana. I'm all over the place. And it's harder doing this than it is being there and being really smart. And I've got the greatest people. I've got the greatest negotiators. Our military is going to be so great. Our trade is going to be so great. Our veterans are going to be taken so well care of. Because we're a lot of business people. I know some of the people, a lot of great business people. What I love, I've spent the least money by far. And I'm by far #1, okay? Now you can take others, I won't mention any more names, but you can take others, like in New Hampshire. I spent just about the least, and I had the best result by far. And every state, I spent the least and I win. And then other guys spend 5, 6, 7 times more money, and they come in last. And I say, who would you rather have as your president, right? I mean, who would you rather have? You spend the least, and you win. And that's what we want. So here's the story. We're going to have very strong borders. We're going to have the wall. I was telling you after one of the debates, I've won every debate. I've been on center stage on every single debate. And supposing, I never did this stuff before, but won every debate. And we've been #1 almost since I announced, just about a few weeks after. You know, I started off at 4, and they all said, well, that is his plateau. He won't go higher. The next week I went to 8, then I went to 12, then I went to 18, then I went to 22, and every week these idiots said, that would be his plateau. That is the ceiling. He has hit his ceiling. Then I went to 68, then I went, and believe me, if I didn't have 3 people running, I'd be at 85. He's at 85. So this person takes me after the debate. He says, you know we can't build the wall, one of the earlier debates. I said, I'm telling you, you can build the wall. Then I heard him a few months ago saying, we will build the wall. They have no chance, okay? But then recently, one of the guys said, because I was saying Mexico is going to pay for the wall funds, okay? Mexico. And this guy calls me backstage, and I said it during the debate, he goes to me, he says, you know Mexico's never going to pay for the wall. I said, absolutely, absolutely. We We have a trade deficit with Mexico of $58 billion, right? So when you have 58 billion trade, that doesn't include the drugs that are pouring off, which is much more than that. The drugs are pouring. They are pouring across the border, poisoning our youth and poisoning plenty of other people too. Poisoning our youth in New Hampshire and other places. We're going to stop. Okay, so they're pouring across the border, right? So here's what I said. I said, when we have a trade deficit with Mexico of $58 billion, and we have a wall that costs us $10 billion, and we have a wall that we need 1,000 miles because we have natural barriers, and China had 13,000 miles 2,000 years ago. They built the Great Wall of China. You know, these guys think we can't build a wall. I mean, and we have tractors, and we'll only use Caterpillar. We're not using Komatsu. Okay? The people, they want to buy products made in Japan because they're proud of their country. And in China, they want to buy products in China. But you can't do business in China very easily. It's very hard for you to send your products in. But they have a pride. Well, we have a pride too. I want to use products made in the USA, okay? We're going to build the wall. Mexico's going to pay for the wall. We're going to stop the drugs. And our country that we love is going to start winning again. The key, you got to go on Tuesday. We're having a lot of fun tonight with a band subject.
Love you.
You know, it's hard to have fun. A very big musician, I won't say who, like the biggest, said Trump's the greatest in the world without a guitar. Meaning, who the hell else can fill a place like this and I don't have a musical instrument? I only had the brain, folks, and the mouth. Because you got to have a little combination between the brain and the mouth. But believe me, they're good. But you have the brain too, and you have, that's why you're all here. Because you're sick and tired of watching our country lose and watching our country get ripped off in the military, in training, with our vets, with everything. So here's what's going on. You're going to think back in 5 years from now, and 30 years from now, and 50 years, hopefully. There'll be some of us around. Listen, me, I don't think I'll be, but there'll be some of us around. You get a lot of young people. But you're going to think back and you're going to say, this was an amazing evening in Indiana. And more importantly, on Tuesday, you're going to go to vote. And you're going to say, when you think back, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, you're going to say that was the greatest vote you ever cast. That was the vote you cast for President Trump, the Trump administration. And you're going to say that was the single greatest vote you've ever cast. Because all of a sudden, we're going to beat Hillary. By the way, the polls are now saying we're even with her and going up. I guess you saw that. And these other two guys have never had a negative ad. I have 55,000 negative ads. And I'm now beating her or tied. And I haven't even focused on her. Don't forget, 17 people. 1, 2, 3, every week. Boom, boom, boom. Now I can focus on her. Will that be fun? Oh, will that be fun? Just came out yesterday that I'm even. I don't like even, but even's fine because they had me there. You know, I had 55,000 negative ads. During Florida, I said, there's no way I can win. Every ad, I watched television. Every single ad of every show on television was a negative Trump ad. And they're phony ads, they're wrong. Mostly, a couple of things that are great, but that's right. But they're all wrong. And I had 55,000 negative ads, and I won Florida on that side. And I won just about everything in a landslide. You know, last week I won 5 states in a landslide. Everyone was a landslide. I mean, Cruz was getting like 10%. How do you run for president if you get like 12% in New York? You can't even think about it. And then the week before that with New York, it was the same thing. So look, you're gonna look back and we're gonna start winning again. We're gonna win with our military, we're gonna win our trade, we're gonna win at the border, we're gonna win with education, we're getting rid of Common Core, bring in local. say that was the greatest vote. And I'll tell you something, folks. I give you my word. Go out and vote. It's so important on Tuesday. Get your friends to vote. You can cross over. You know, here you can cross over. I love it when they cross. Because in New York, they had a big story on it. In New York, you're not allowed. If you're a Democrat, you have to vote Democrat. But they had a big story. The people that work in the polling booths, you know, they've been there for years. Some of them are like 80 years old, and they've done it for 45 years. They said on television, local television, we've never seen anything like it. Everybody that comes in wants to know if they can vote for Trump. That was in New York. They said everybody, and we said no, because you have to vote Democrat. But we're going to have massive crossover. We're going to have massive independent votes. And you know what I see more than anything else? I'm on lines and we sign and we shake hands with people. Every 20th person says to me, Mr. Trump. I mean, these are 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old people. They say, Mr. Trump, I've never voted before. You're the first time in my life that I'm voting, and I'm so proud of it. And they'll have a Trump shirt, and they're so proud. They said they've never had anybody they wanted to vote for. It never meant anything to them because they never had anybody they wanted to vote for. So get out and vote, because I'm telling you, we're going to start winning again, winning like we have never won before.